Hello, I'm Scotlander, and today I'm going to talk to you about video setup. Whether you use it for Zoom, you're doing podcasts, maybe YouTube videos, whatever it is you do, this may help you out as far as how the setup looks, what products I purchased, and what you can get for what you're looking at. This obviously is my finished product. I can change the different lighting and settings of that nature, maybe the tone of my skin, some of those items, but I chose to kind of cast shadows a little bit. And I'll talk about how to set your lighting up to get a setting pretty similar to what I have. Okay, let's jump into some quick slides to show you exactly how I got things set up on my end. So some important aspects we're going to look at is obviously you want to assess the cost, what your specific needs are going to be. There's lots of different tools and products out there. I'll show you what I use, but you may use something totally different, and that's okay. You may have different needs. Lighting, we'll show you how to set up that lighting, how I set up my lighting, and then you can assess what it is you want to do in your room, as well as room setup, things like decor and where things are located. So costs, obviously, you don't want to spend what you don't have. You can build up to it. So, over time, your needs may change. This doesn't have to be your permanent setup. So don't get stuck on this has to be exactly right to start out. I started with a different mic and certainly a different setup until I got my office completely set up and all decorated and things of that nature. So you can certainly grow into it. So needs, you need to assess your needs. Are you going to be standing or sitting? Where are people going to be located as far as your camera and your microphone go? What's your room size? Is it really limited size wise? Is it really big? You may want to condense it some. There's all sorts of different things to take into account, and that lighting is going to affect. The other thing that you have to take into account is windows. So my window is directly behind me. We'll talk a little bit more about that in lighting, but you can really get blown out if you have your window wide open with no curtains, things of that nature, or if it's behind you, some stuff like that. Are you going to have multiple people? So how many people are going to be around the microphone? How are you going to sit across from each other? Lots of good things to take into account. What's your primary uses? Are you going to just be doing Zoom? Are you going to do podcasts? Are you going to do YouTube videos? What are those needs that you have? And it may be that you have a couple different setups or that you can rearrange your room or whatever the case may be. So tools and products, we're not going to talk about your computer RAM, graphics card, all those type things. So those are things you'll have to assess based on whatever products you're purchasing. And you'll want to check that out on those specific products. As far as a monitor, stand, you can have lots of different setups. I personally use a monitor, and my laptop is on a cooling stand tucked away. But it may be that you have a laptop or you have a built-in mic and a built-in camera that you want to utilize first. So maybe you just need a stand and you just want to make sure that you get the right angle with that computer to start out, and then you can grow into other things as it grows. So video software, I really like Minicam. It's a Canadian company. It does a lot of different things. Let me just give you a quick preview of what Minicam looks like. For me, the screen's going to look a little funky, but just look on the outside here. You can change your different computer settings as far as what your camera is going to be sending out. And then over here, you have lots of different presets that you can cut in and out of. So like this was the first one that I did that had the video setup, words on it. So obviously I can go over here and I can change the words. I can work with audio. This is where I would do words. I can put the time on there. I can have a virtual background if I want, which virtual backgrounds are excellent ways to save money if you don't have time to do decor or you don't have your office completely set up yet. Virtual backgrounds are awesome and a great way to save. You have all sorts of different effects and things that you can jump in and do. You can look at your previous recordings and then have your favorites as well. So lots of options there. And I just wanted to show Minicam really quick. I think it was around $100 on sale for me to get a lifetime membership on Minicam. So it's not crazy expensive. I do think they have maybe either some really affordable or free options to begin with that. There are a lot of free options out there, but they were from some foreign countries that I maybe didn't trust. So when it comes to your cam, specs matter. Personally, my camera is 1080p, but I would recommend at least a 1080p or a 4K in today's world. I'll show you the cost of mine. Mine was like 20 bucks. I don't think it's available right this second, but there's other affordable options. Frame rate's another thing you'll want to take into consideration and what that camera is able to do. Mic, just keep in mind these mics can change and grow with you. I did have a lesser mic and got a little bit better quality one over time. Some of the mic settings that you'll want to look at are things like stereo, omnidirectional, cardioid, and bidirectional. Those are all settings that my mic does. You know, a lot of it depends. Am I the only one presenting to it? Am I going to have somebody across from me? Am I going to have a whole room of people? And those are kind of the things that you have to take into consideration when you look at that. Here's kind of a sample of the main products that I utilize. So I got the HyperX mic that I put onto a boom arm. And then my camera is set up on this dual monitor system, which I only use one monitor right now, but my camera is set up on that. And then I have these two lights to the side, as well as my key light over the top, which we'll look at here in just a second. So let me show you real quick some of the items that I utilized when I went and purchased these. This was a webcam that I utilized. Like I said, it's not available now. I think I spent about 20 bucks on it. The main thing is check out those ratings. Make sure it's at least 4, maybe 4.5 stars when you're checking out those cameras, and make sure, I would at least make sure you got 1080p on it. You know, that's going to be your resolution. That's going to be how grainy you look or how clear you look. So that's really important. The other thing to check out is, you know, do you want a tripod? Do you want one that hooks on your computer monitor like I have? What are some of the connection options that it offers? This is a microphone that I got. They have a little fancier one that does more colors. There's so many microphones out there. This was just the one that I chose. I actually started out with a little bit smaller of a microphone, something like this, and then grew into the one that I am currently utilizing, which is this one. You know, certainly look at reviews again and kind of listen to people that utilize those in their video. And that's how I deduced which microphone would be best for me. And you can check that out and figure out which one will be best for you. I highly recommend having some sort of screen. I obviously use a little bit different one now, but these pop filters help you from dropping P's that make people go deaf because they're so loud or just sound funky in your videos. This is the boom arm. I grew into this as well. It's about twice as much as the original one that I got, but this one works a lot better. The other one would kind of move on its own some and wasn't as good a quality, but I thought this boom arm was really great, and I've had great success with it. I'm able to kind of just move it around easily, move my mic up and down, and do whatever I want quite easily with it. Plus it's longer, which makes it able when I have people over to do videos with them. This is the monitor holder that I did. I only utilize one right now, and the other one actually holds some other stuff up in my office. Ring lights are great. So like if you're doing makeup tutorials or something, you can sit right in front of it and hook your phone up to it. So it's pretty good on the go for things like that. You can dim this one, you can brighten it, and you can kind of change some of the tone in it as well, which is terrific. But I love this ring light, and I think it's really great, and I do highly recommend this one. If you're not sure which one to go with, I've been very happy with this one. These are the two lights that I set up. You know, you only have 5 options for what type of color comes out of the light, but you can dim these. It's really important that they're dimmable because you may want different amount of light coming from each direction. You typically want just a little bit of in front of you on each side, so that you can change those lights and make, maybe a little shadow on one side of your face or whatever the case may be. If you are just going to use your laptop or something like that, this was something I utilized pretty early on. There's lots of different stands out there. You can make your own, but it is a really affordable way to go if that's something you want to look at. So this is my wall art behind me, as you could tell, but you can literally utilize whatever you want for different decor behind you. This just happens to be the option that I utilize. All right, so let's talk a little more in depth about lighting. So lighting, you essentially want your key light, your fill light, and then your backlight or your overhead light. I currently use overhead light from my lamp, and it is a dimmable light. I've got special light bulbs that go in there and I control with an app. But it basically is what casts a shadow over your shoulders and gives you some depth. Red flag though, watch out for windows. If you have a bright window behind you, it will blow out your video and it won't look great. Even a window in front of you, if too much light's coming through, it could really change your video, or from any side, as that may be. There's lots of YouTube videos on lighting. I definitely recommend that you check those out. Those are things that I looked at. But here's some diagrams that can kind of help you out. So your key light, something you kind of want above you, checking out. And then your fill light. So they're talking about some different angles and some different lighting percentages. I played around with a bunch of different ones to check out what I thought looked best. You can obviously set a bunch of different moods, have lots of different effects based on that lighting. They have the backlight. Like I said, I did overhead light on mine. Here's an example if you are standing. There are a lot better lights, obviously, than what I utilize, but they cost a lot more, so go figure. But you have your key light at 100%, your fill light at 50, and your backlight at 20% is what they recommend. And I actually utilize a few more lights than what they have. This is what my setup is. So as you can tell, I have my key light right here, and then I have a couple different fill lights since I got the 2-pack of that. And then I have my camera and my microphone. There's the boom arm for the microphone. You can see the computer stands that I've utilized, monitor stand, and then my cam just hooks onto it. I actually have some mood lighting set up, which I can change the color of that as well. And then I have 2 homemade soundproofing and light reflecting boards. Those are essentially just white, cardboard style boards that I bought that you do like for a science fair. And then I put some soundproofing stuff on the other side of it. Just glued that on there so that when my dogs are barking or they're doing construction outside, you can't hear it in there as well. So that's kind of the setup that I did and what I decided to utilize for my office. So in your room setup, you'll want to take into account what your background is. You can use some of the digital backgrounds, which is really cool, and the technology is getting really cool where you don't look weird and floating everywhere. But you can have some digital backgrounds that are really excellent nowadays, and it saves a lot of money. But you want to consider what's behind you and what camera angle you're looking at. Sometimes I see people's ceilings, so all sorts of different stuff. And then what decor you want. Obviously I did the world map. There's all sorts of different things that may fit your personality that you can think about and how you want to decorate. The mood lighting I really love. I think it's a cool addition and something I definitely wanted to incorporate that we already had in the house. But look up pics online of video podcasts, see what you like, and set it up how you prefer. So there are more advanced things out there like audio editors, video editors. You can certainly check out videos on those. I don't go into too much depth on that because frankly I don't have a lot of time to work on that type of stuff since that isn't my primary job. So those are just kind of the tools that I utilize. Here's a couple different angles of my office and what it looks like from my perspective compared to other people's. And that's pretty much it. Let me know what questions you have, and I'd be happy to answer them.